Yo, this is the OT99 banter room where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. Look, we're back again with another show. It's your boy Firmz, and we're going to chop it up about the transfer window. We're going to chop it up about the latest news that is coming in from the English reporters, the media, your Simon Stones, your Athletics. There's been a lot of bombers that's been coming through recently, and let's get to it. You get me? We're going to talk about the Mateus Fernandez. We're going to talk about what's happening with that. We're going to talk about what's happening with Tchoumeni. We're going to talk about what's happening with Nmecha, where there's been recent links as well, even though we've been linked with him in the past previously, but those links have resurfaced as well. We're going to talk about those. We're going to talk about a whole host of things here in the OT99 banter room. So let's get into it. So look, the first of all, should we just start off with the World Cup actually? The World Cup has been absolutely bonkers. Like, I'm riding off only a few hours of sleep, man. I stayed up and I've watched these early morning games of late, obviously the Netherlands and the Netherlands game. And see, I've gone blank. Shows you the lack of sleep I've had. And Morocco game. It was amazing from start to end. It was amazing, bro. Like, the level, the quality of the football. I mean, with this World Cup, what I've noticed is you either have like a game that is totally boring and just crap, or you have a game that is just a banger. And obviously we witnessed the Brazil game and Japan game, that was a banger. We witnessed the Netherlands game and obviously Morocco, that was a banger. And I knew it had all of the ingredients to be a banger as well. Do you know what I mean? I think both teams are playing good football. Obviously, Morocco, representing the AFCON, the African nations, even though they kind of don't really want to do that. But yeah, they're playing really good football. I can't lie. I mean, their ball playing ability has been really good. They're playing as a team, playing as a unit. Obviously, all eyes on Buadi as well. But I mean, shout outs to their striker, man. Shout outs to their striker. I really like the profile of that guy. I think Bayern Munich obviously got him for about 55 million euros. Shout out to him. He's been doing really well as well. And look, we saw really, really, really good. Sorry, am I mixing up my team? Sorry, I'm talking about Netherlands and Morocco. Yes, I mean, shout out to obviously you guys like Van Dijk. The ones there. This guy couldn't be. He thought he had it in the bag. He thought he was making those really good saves, and he was going to the crowd and cheering them up and everything like that. But how it happens, in this World Cup, we had a true giant killer. Do you know what I mean? Put the scalps, and he went to penalties, and it was like, I think we're going to be seeing more penalty shootouts throughout this World Cup. I must say, I really do feel like we're going to be having a few more penalty shootouts because I think like a bit more teams are cagey now. We've got a lot of teams in the World Cup that is physically fit, athletic, defensively sound, a lot of low blocks. What you're finding it, you've seen it with your likes of Paraguay, how they knocked out Germany. You've seen it with like your Ecuadors. You've got a lot of these teams where they're defensively sound, and it's proven difficult for a lot of the European teams to break them down. But we've got a cracker that's coming. We've got a cracker that's coming up with. We've got a cracker that's coming up later on today, 6 p.m. We've got, a big game coming up, and it's going to be interesting to see how the outcome of that. We've got, Ivory Coast. Shout out to my guy Amad Diallo. We've got my, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, you've got Norway as well with Haaland. The goals are free flowing, but again, you're looking at that Ivory Coast, man. You've got the Pepe, the speed, the do you know what I mean? The Amonde, that counter-attacking speed, the physicalness. They're really showing up for Africa as well. So a lot for me, man. That again has got all the ingredients to be a cracking game. I can see a game with a few goals in it as well, so I'm looking forward to that. But let's get into the news then of the midfielders. Obviously, the thumbnail is titled Mateus has decided. He's made this decision. Look, so there's news coming out from Simon Stone. Says Fernandez was was not intended to be part of the first lot of Hammer players that return to preseason training next Monday. However, it is anticipated a formal bid is close to being made, which is likely to bring the situation to a head. Fernandes is understood to have an open mind about where he goes, with his agent, George Mendes, speaking up to both the Premier League clubs. It is not thought there is an immediate need for West Ham to sell the player to comply with financial regulations, although manager Nuno Espirito Santos knows there will have to be departures following relegation to the Championship. Look, we heard the news, obviously, that there was a deadline, which is today, which is the 30th of June. The new financial year kicks in on the 1st of July. There was talking of West Ham needed to meet financial fair play regulations. And in order to do that, they will either have the owners, the directors, or whoever it is, the shareholders will have to reinvest in the club and buy more shares in it. That's one way. Or another way is selling some of their private assets. And obviously, you've heard the links with guys like Mateus, Fernandes, Somerville, and even guys like Bowen as well. And, we've had talks come out already about, West Ham and directors putting a cash injection of 90 million into the club to alleviate the immediate stress of the financial issues, alleviate that. And what we're seeing from that is potentially a place where, that West Ham can drag out this saga with Mateus Fernandes. And that's something that all parties probably don't want to be involved in. I think everyone wants the deal to be sorted quite quickly. And obviously, you've got West Ham that have their own objectives, which is to create a bidding war. Man United and Tottenham, we've got Man United who's saying, we're standing firm, we're not spending 80 million. And then you've obviously got Tottenham, who's giving out all of the right noises, saying that they've got all the money in the world, and not all the money in the world, but they're saying that they're happy to meet, the wage structure, they're happy to meet of the wage demand. They're happy to pay the fee, but then there's not been any bid that's coming yet, which is kind of confusing because if you deep it, if you look at the Tonali, right, you've seen there's rumors of 2 bids that's coming, 75 million odd that has been rejected from Newcastle already. So it's like, if that has been rejected by Newcastle and they've got that type of money, why are they not doing it for Mateus Fernandes? So it just makes you realize, it just makes you query whether the actual, is actually true. Of recent. Well, go on, Ed Weeze. Welcome to the.
What's up? Sorry, I'm late, my brother.
Yeah, and we're out here, bro. I said I'll kickstart the show. I know you're joining later, and and I was just talking about. Obviously, I've gone through the Cup stuff and it was games, and then I'm to Mateus Fernandes and the whole the bidding war and being in for it, and United not pay no 8 million. And what's your thoughts on it about this? There being a bidding war, where do you end up seeing Mateus Fernandes at the end of this transfer window? And do you have a team paying for him?
The problem is, I think, am I right? Yeah, am I clear?
Yeah, you're good. You're not as HD as me. Cool. But yeah. You got settings.
You on the screen, but yeah, I think United don't want to spend as much as Tottenham are willing to. Tottenham will probably do it on the fact of where they finish to get the fans back on their side and just to get that energy back there. So I think Tottenham are probably willing to pay that amount. Man United or not, but I think Mateus wants to come to United. But the problem is what I was telling you the other day. We allow ourselves to get in a bidding war. If he then says to Tottenham, I don't want to go there, and the amount that Man United would have to reach will be higher. Because if he just says straight away he doesn't want to go there, then Tottenham won't be bidding higher. But say if he bids high and says, I don't want to go there, I want to go United, and then it's time to go United, and the bidding war would have gone too high. So I don't know. I don't think as a whole package we should pay more than 60 million for him, to be honest.
Ooh. you know what it is? I originally thought that as well. I think the highest transfer fee for a relegated player was about 58 million, and that was for um the guy that's at Chelsea. But his name now. He's always injured. Oh, your camera's gonna. So I thought, you know what I mean, like we will be all right paying that type of money. But then, as the window's gone on, we've quickly realized that we're just in a market where it's super inflated. We're seeing prices slapped on, which is at least 20% more, 20% more than anyone really expected. And that's why we are in a issue right now about changing tax, and things are dragging out in the market right now for Manchester United.
And then also you've got to bear in mind Thingy's transfer as well. What's his name? Anderson's one's going to spoil the whole remit, because people are going to be like, you know what, if you're paying 116 for him. But the thing is, at the same time, we've got to remember it's not his fault, but Mateus, he's been in 2 teams that have been relegated back to back. Yeah. It's not like we're buying a player that's from another Premiership team. We're buying a player. Imagine paying 80 million for a player that's in a Championship team. No disrespect.
Yeah.
What kind of message does that send out?
No, I hear that. I do hear that. And I think it's something that Manchester United is definitely saying, you know what? We're taking all of these things into consideration. And it's just something that we're not willing to do. Like, I think that's the old regime where Man United get bullied into making some of these signings. And Man United right now is saying, no, that we can't do this anymore. You know, we can't be that team that gets like bullied, basically. And I think and I commend Ineos for that. I know this approach has a lot of fans split. You know what I mean? People are saying how, you know, we need to be moving fast in the market, be concise in the market. You know, if he doesn't want to come, then move on. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't be being held to ransom. But on the other hand, you've got fans.
Have we officially tried to get him though? That's the problem. I don't know if we've actually officially tried to bid. I know we've wanted to, but unless we've officially tried to bid, it's just like, what's the point getting involved in the back and forth?
Yeah. I think there's talk of a bid happening imminently. I think Simon Stone from the BBC, he did a piece on the BBC, and he mentioned that a bid is going to be coming in now, pretty close to be happening, and it's going to be happening within the next couple of days. So Simon Stone is a pretty reliable source, and if he says something, then you know it could be. There's a good chance, you know, obviously it's not a Ornstein, but there's a good chance that there could be something happening in the background with that. So I would expect a bid to come in from either United or Tottenham, or both. Do you know what I mean on that? And do you know what? Just as I've been talking as well, you know, in the group chat, you see that Man City. I know it's not Man United news, but it was kind of related. They're saying Man City have made fresh inquiries on Sandro Tonali. Tottenham are yet to return with follow-up bid after an offer of 80 million was rejected. Newcastle were closer to 100 million. So shout out Mo for that. They put that in a group as well. Look, this is crazy fees, bro. This is crazy fees, bro.
Yeah, too much.
Man, and this is what I'm like with Man United, like, bro, in my mind, I thought, we're gonna go out and get a Tchoumeni, we're gonna go out and get an Anderson, we're gonna go out and get Tonali. And I still feel that we'll go in for Tchoumeni, but it's like I'm not surprised that Man United are taking this long or exploring other alternatives and trying to pivot. Do you know what I mean? So if I go into the next article that we're seeing more news coming out as well. So Athletic, you know, they have a weekly sort of drop as well. Some of their transfer list sheet as well, and some of the things that came out of there. So they said Felix Nmecha is among the names Manchester United are considering in midfield. Having made inquiries as to his availability this summer, United remain in negotiations for their priority midfield target, Mateus Fernandes. So that's clear that he's our priority, despite serious competition from Tottenham Hotspur. Personal terms are not expected to be an issue, but West Ham have up until now held a firm 85 million asking price. One alternative to Fernandes is Alex Scott, but so it's either Alex Scott or Mateus, they're saying here. But Bournemouth insists that they have no intention of selling the 22-year-old during this window and are attempting to tie Scott down to a new contract. extending his terms beyond 2028, where his existing contract expires. It says other potential midfield targets include Real Madrid's Aurelien Tchoumeni, as well as Carlos Baleba, Adam Wharton as well. United have run the rule over a number of other Premier League midfielders, including Fulham's Sander Berg. Although midfield is the clear focus, United may seek to strengthen their left-hand side this summer, potentially a left wing. Crescencio Somerville is one possible target at present. A left wing signing is more likely than a new left-back signing. United are not treating the defence as a priority during this window, despite Newcastle United's Lewis Hall having admirers at Old Trafford. So that's coming out of and then it says here, given Real Madrid's desire to sell a midfielder and Eduardo Camavinga not wanting to leave, the club would be open to offers for Aurelien Tchoumeni. His deal ends in 2028 and Man United like him. That's coming from the Athletic. Bro, so obviously a lot of information is coming out of the Athletic article. Obviously it's saying that, Mateus is our priority, but Alex Scott is there. There's also people like Baleba, Adam Wharton as well. I didn't know he was even back in contention because I thought he was too similar to Maney. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And guys like Sander Berg. So what's your look? Obviously, we're seeing these talks, these players raised with this. Obviously, we've got Rashford situation with Somerville, so we can get into that a bit later. But what's your thoughts on some of the other signings that's mentioned? So obviously, we've talked about Tchoumeni, Carlos Baleba,
I think Tchoumeni, he's looked all right during the World Cup. He hasn't looked out of place too much. So yeah, I don't mind him at our team, but we do need people with legs because he doesn't look like he's super leggy, and that's the problem we had with Casemiro and what we even saw in the game versus Japan. Like, even though he popped up and played well second half, he did struggle a bit in terms of like letting people run past him and have the energy. And even though Mainly was young, Mainly was not one of them players that are super leggy either, is he? So we do need someone with legs.
100%. You know it's funny as well, because in a group I love to banter everyone, and I'll be like, oh yeah, when Casemiro scored one more, yeah, Casemiro, one more. And you know what? He does what he does best in attack. Like, it really is true. Like, he really is good with like scoring a header or whatever it is like that. And I was just bantering the guys because obviously they really, really want a transformation of the midfield with physicality. And I can see it as one. I agree. And I feel like with Tchoumeni though, I mean, he's obviously not got the legs like a Baleba, I wouldn't say. He hasn't got the legs probably like even an Edison that we're going to be signing. But I do feel like, I mean, obviously it's hard to tell, but I do feel like Tchoumeni will have enough experience and know-how, do you know what I mean, to be able to handle his own. It's just once he gets through the adaptation period, transitioning from the Premier League, La Liga to the Premier League, then probably you'll see the best of him. So our only worry is how quick it will take for him to adapt with the pace of the league. But once he does, I do feel like he'll be good. And at the end of the day, we have got Edison and stuff through the back. But would you be happy though with a midfield of like in this scenario now? Obviously, we've got Edison. There's been talks of getting minimum 2 more now that Ugarte is injured. Shout out to Ugarte. It's looking like it's a lengthy injury. What is your ideal 2 signings to come into Manchester United? Who are you thinking out of the names that's been linked to them?
Maybe Scott and Tchoumeni.
Scott and Tchoumeni.
Those 2. Those are the only 2 that stick out to me.
Yeah, Scott's got the legs as well. To be fair, so you'll have Scott over Mateus, yeah?
Yeah, because Mateus is like it's too expensive. It's too expensive.
But do you know what? Yeah, Bournemouth are obviously saying 80 million as well. They're not having it. They're like, we're selling this guy for 80 million. That's the price tag. It's a similar price tag as what Mateus is on as well. So it's for me. I do feel like even though West Ham has set that 85 million price tag, I think that Man United is going to price that down. And I think it's going to be probably 70 million total package. But I do feel like the initial fee is going to be about
And that's not too bad then. If that's the amount, then that's not too bad.
Yeah, I reckon as well, man. So for me, yeah, I feel like signing Mateus Fernandez is, I know he's young and he's not like that elite level that we wanted in maybe
that's what I'm saying. Because he's not that elite, he's not like he's a Champions League player. I'm not spending 80 million on someone that's not proved in there, that's not played in European. They've been part of 2 teams that Southampton have been relegated, and now West Ham. I'm not paying 80 million for him. That's why if I'm going to pay 10 million more around, I'd rather get Tchoumeni. He's been Champions League, starts for France in the World Cup, understands the game, very experienced.
See, but that's my worry though as well, the Tchoumeni thing, because we've heard initial fees that's been thrown around with Tchoumeni. But then since the Anderson transfer has gone through, we don't know what Tchoumeni's price tag actually is. Like Real Madrid have not come out yet and said, you know what, this is how much we're going to sell him for. Like we're seeing RB, you're seeing Diamonde, RB with Diamonde. They keep increasing his price. Now they're saying that this guy we're not selling for anything less than 150 million euros. Do you know
because
what I mean?
Remember, at the same time, I don't think they want to sell him, right? If obviously something comes through, they'll sell him. But I don't think they have actively said we want to get rid of him.
Yeah, they want to definitely keep him.
It's the same with Casemiro. Like that one was surprising because no one thought Casemiro was going, isn't it? But you know what? Real Madrid are smart. They never put their players up for sale, but they're not saying no if you give them a good fee.
I know that because there's talks. Obviously, they need to raise cash. They're looking at new midfielders, doing a bit of a revamp there in their midfield. So obviously they're looking at Chelsea guys. And for me, it's like if they're gonna be paying 120 million or up to that, then they're gonna have to be making significant sales.
Yeah.
And Camavinga's putting his foot down. He says he's not going anywhere. So that's going to be an issue. And the most realistic person that they can sell.
He's always injured. I don't know if we really want him. He's injured a lot. So
I know. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I'm on that guy's ball, man. And we've been hearing as well, that Tchoumeni is open to coming to Manchester United. He says like if he was to leave, then he would be willing to come to Manchester. He'll be open to come to Manchester United. So that's another thing as well. So we've got a player that actually is interested in coming to Manchester United. We can probably at least get the ball rolling with discussions. Obviously, the sticking point that's talked about is his wages, isn't it? And price. But I just feel like Man United, I have a sneak feeling that obviously Vivell really appreciates Tchoumeni. I have a sneak feeling that if we look into negotiations with Real Madrid for Tchoumeni, I have a sneak feeling that we'll get the deal done, and it won't be like the Anderson one, because I feel like Real Madrid would be more flexible with regards to the payment structure than what Nottingham Forest was. I think Marinakis was he's a nightmare to deal with, right? He wanted guaranteed, I don't know what the figure is. Some people are saying 116 million, some people are saying 30.
But the problem is, I think that Real Madrid want to sell one of their players, but they don't want. I don't know if it's. I think it's Camavinga they rather sell, but he doesn't want to go. So
exactly, he don't want to go. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But with the window, like certain openings happen at certain phases and certain times of the window, and I just feel like with guys like Tchoumeni, it's not going to be something that happens like over the next week or 2 or 3. I feel like it's something that might happen much later on down the line, because Man United as well is going to be looking at, can we be getting deals over the line as well? Like, what are we going to do with Rashford? What are we going to do with, potential sales? Because we need to raise money.
They're happy to reintegrate Rashford for now.
What's your thoughts on that, man?
I think it saves money, isn't it, for them? It's like, okay, they're going to spend at least 50, 60 million for plus for a winger, right? If Rashford is there and Carrick is willing to take him back, then why not? If you're not going to get rid of him and you have to pay his wages anyway, why just keep him?
So do you feel like he would reintegrate and do well and be back to his like
The way we play, I feel like the way we play football, we do well. You know that counter-attacking, running. We don't have like just a direct person that just runs and wants to cut in, and you know what I mean.
I do feel like he's the one. Like if you're keeping him, I do feel like, especially if you're just trying to do it for a year or something, I do feel like he's one of the most cost-effective. Like obviously he's on massive wages, but in terms of like
do you want to keep him?
So personally, I feel like there's too much water under the bridge, man. And with Rashford, I feel like we're treating it like how we did it with Sancho. Do you know the ones when we took him in?
Yeah, but the problem with the water under the bridge is with not the same hierarchy in terms of the management, isn't it? It's different.
Yeah, it is different.
If Pingy was still there, then maybe I'd be like, yeah, it's an issue. But seeing as we've got Carrick now, and if the board are willing to take him back, and we know how ruthless they are, they must not really have a problem with him. Because if the board have shown, if they don't want, like, even with Sancho, they just let him go for free.
Do you know what it is? Yeah, I do hear it. It's just for me, I just feel like Rashford, I remember him in an interview when he was out there in Barcelona side in Spain, and he was saying he would love to stay there. I just feel like he did come out and say, I don't want to play for any other Premier League club, even though he did play on loan. But I think maybe he means like a permanent sell. I don't want to play for any other club other than like Man United. He doesn't want to disrespect the club like that. But at the same time, I'm just like,
think about it. They've had direct contact with his team and him, and he seems like he's in for it. He's not turned it down.
Yeah, he hasn't turned it down, but I just thought.
Like, you've got to remember, he supports Man U. Like no matter what we think or say, that's his boyhood team, isn't it? It's just unfortunate the Barcelona thing didn't materialize, but
do you know what it is? Yeah, the stuff with the media won't go away. Do you know what I mean? The minute he has a bad spell or bad patch, Man United as a team have a bad spell or bad patch. They're looking at the highest paid guys with the biggest names, and Rashford's back into it. Rashford has been out of the limelight in the sense where he can go out for a meal without appearing in the newspaper. He can go out to a party in Manchester or go wherever he wants to do without appearing.
This will show we can't spoon feed him. He has to show his maturity now.
I think he's in a place where he's just like, do you know what? Yeah, he got so much grease from the media and everything. He was at that point, that time when he left, he was just like fried. And then he experienced what it was like, where he was, enjoying life now. And now it's like, oh my gosh, is that going to get taken away from me? And look, I'm glad that Man United's taken a stance that they're taking at the end of the day, because I think Barcelona really want to try and use us. I really feel like they want to come in lastminute.com and say, yeah, here's your 30 million or whatever it is. Let's take him now, or even get him on a loan. And I think Man United holding their ground. And hopefully we do this and throughout. And you know what I mean? Because I think Man United, if we're trying to be setting a tone, we can't be having it from teams like Barcelona where they like agreed. You know what I mean? You spend all that time to agree a deal, and then you're just backtracking saying 30 mil. That is the cheek. I really hope Bayern Munich coming for him, man. If he doesn't stay with us and he gets that move there, because I feel like that could be a good spot for him as well.
So Man United are not going to loan him out again, they've said. So it's either we sell him or we keep him.
It's crazy, but it would, at the end of the day, it would save like a lot of money for us to invest fully as well. And that raises the question as well. Look, if we save money left wing, because I think Man United had a good amount of money saved for that left hand side. So you're hearing us linked with Rodgers or linked with Diamonde initially before we dropped out. Iliman Ndiaye as well in the background. I think Man United at least had a good 70 odd million, 80 million maybe badge for that side. If you don't go for that side for either left back or left wing, then does that free up more cash to reinvest in the midfield? Do you know what I mean? So that's something to keep an eye on, man. But the last thing I wanted to touch on as well is talks came out from Fabrizio as well. Manchester City held initial talks for Manchester United potential target Buadi, a potential target for the future. There are 4 clubs involved. PSG not advancing yet, having different top priorities. City are keen on Buadi, with possible plan to let him stay at Lille until the start of season 27-28. Yeah. And you already heard about the price tags as well, Buadi as well. So Lille is hoping that they can have him.
Isn't like 75, 80 mil?
I think it's like 80 something mil if you want to buy like him now versus like it being maybe like high end of 60 something million. If you let him go back to Lille. What's your thoughts on that as well? Is that something that
he's a good player. He's young. He had a good game against Brazil. I didn't see him yesterday. Did he play well yesterday?
Yeah, it was okay yesterday. It was
okay. I don't know. He's young, potential. But yeah, we'll see, man. He'll probably end up going to that team, but it'll all depend. They're probably trying to play it smart, isn't it? They buy him, loan him back for a year, let Anderson settle, keep Rodri for one more year, get rid of Rodri next summer, and then he comes in.
I still feel like he's a bit small in stature. I still feel like, if I'm being honest, like with the Premier League, I still feel like he's a bit small in stature.
We'll see, though, because if he's smart, he'll do well. Look at Bernardo Silva. He used to play centre midfield sometimes. He's not the biggest, but he was just smart.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. I mean, I did see him try to go shoulder to shoulder with guys like, Gravenberch and things like that.
And he's still young. He's still growing to his, like...
Still 18,
Yeah, so...
I just feel like it's a big amount of money. I just feel like he needs to grow in a bit. It's that the physicality of the league, I feel like he can ball. He can progress the ball forward. The physicality of the league is something that he's going to have to try and...
To get used to, yeah.
100%. 100%. So what's your thoughts, though, on this, on the World Cup game at 6 o'clock, man?
Who's playing?
Ivory Coast, man, and Norway. You've got Haaland.
I think Ivory Coast will win.
Oh, you think Ivory Coast will win?
Yeah, I think they'll win. I think maybe like a 2-1 or 3-1. I think they'll win. I don't know. I haven't watched Norway enough to see how good the defense is, but Ivory Coast attack quite well. So, but I think it depends how they do, because I think Haaland will score or do well, but I do have Ivory Coast winning. Who you got?
It's a tough one, I'm going back and forth. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking, is it going to be a draw? I feel like there'll be goals in the game.
Yeah.
Like, Haaland, he obviously got rested. He's going to be hungry. He's going to be ready.
Yeah.
He gets a sniff an opportunity. He's putting the ball in the back of the net. But at the same time, you've got the speed. Yeah, that counter-attacking football, man, of Pepe, Diamonde, Ahmad. Them men are hungry. Them men are ready. So, look, it's going to be interesting. If I had to go with someone, though, I'll probably say Norway, I don't want Norway to win, but I'll probably say Norway, man. Because...
Cool. I'm gonna message you during at the end of the game. See who's right. I'll go for Ivory Coast, you're going for Norway.
Those teams that can ball a little bit, have a bit more... Like, if it was just a physical team versus another physical team, I'll probably lean towards Ivory Coast. But I just feel like the guys like Odegaard, I think that he could potentially be a difference maker.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But it's hard to know. It's hard to know, man. We'll see. But it's set up to be a cracking game. And obviously after that, I can't remember the game after that actually. But what's the game after that?
France.
Who?
France are playing this evening, aren't they?
Oh, France and Sweden. What's your thoughts on that?
France in the smoke, man.
Have we got any? We ain't got no guys in France or Sweden, have we? No, we haven't. No United players. Yeah, we ain't got no United players. But yeah, France and Sweden. Yeah, Gyökeres and what do you call it? Isaac versus Mbappe, Dembele, Elise,
We'll see though, because remember what Haaland done to them, like just putting pressure on them. So I think France will win.
That's my thing, man. Yeah, and then we've got the early hour one as well, kickoff, bro. 2 a.m. one, which is Mexico, Ecuador. Probably won't stay up for that, man. I think.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that. I'll watch the 2 games and then call it a day.
That'll be it. That'll literally be it. Yo, guys, man, we're out, man. We've given our views on the transfer window, all of the links. We brought it to you. Well, the latest as of now, as of today. But hopefully, as more information comes through, we'll be bringing that to you direct. And look, Manchester United, please get these deals over the line and for a reasonable fee, man. Mateus Fernandes, bring him in the door, man. Nmecha, if you need to, bring him in the door. Tchoumeni, whoever. Man, United need to fix this midfield because next season, but we need to be talking about expectations. We need to be talking about you know what I mean? Title charge. No, I'm joking. But you know what I mean? We need to have discussions.
Yeah.
So let's see how it goes, man. Guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, man. Leave a like, leave a comment on your way out, man. Thank you for tuning in, man. And look, we'll keep it pushing, man. Until next time. Peace.
Take care, guys. Bye.